Welcome to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. In this segment, Pat describes a set of projects she's started to build a savings revenue stream for travel, big purchases, and retirement. These projects are designed to be low impact in terms of the time it takes to set them up and evergreen in their lifespan.
Hey, James.
Yes, Pat. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm calling in from my retirement village.
Oh, the
Yeah.
continuing care retirement village for elderly creatives.
How dare you? Are you kidding? I'm in Viva la Vida Loca retirement village for barely pushing retirement age party animals in
Oh,
beautiful Mexico.
bueno. That explains the ever-present tequila jug behind you.
Well, there it is. You know what? I just need a straw. I can't get to it. It's too heavy for my tennis elbow. So, I wanted to let you know how I managed to get here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I funded myself with my earlier self.
Get out. Your
Yeah,
past self prepared your present self
yeah,
for a big trip.
yeah.
Tell me
And
about it.
really,
Tell me about it.
I am what?
I want to hear all about it.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say I am projecting into the future. We don't
Uh-huh.
actually. I'm not here right now. I'm wishing I was here.
Oh,
Um,
it's all a big projection.
it's all a big projection. You know what they
Okay.
call it? Creative visualization. Okay.
Okay.
And I've indulged in it. I've indulged in it because I need I actually I need to work less.
Yeah.
And I have a few things that I do that are not my creative adjacent business. So
Right.
I write. As we know, the average income for a writer in North America is, I think, 6 grand a year. That's full-time income. Might be 10 grand,
Yep.
somewhere around that. That's not enough to pay anything.
No.
It's enough for groceries, basically. So, especially in Canada, because the cost of living is quite high where I live. And then
Mhm.
I teach, and however, it's not about the courses I teach. It's really about which platform they're on. And I'm finding there's a little bit of uncertainty. One of the schools I teach through is going to change hands, and I have
Uh,
my intellectual property, but I don't know if that course is still going to be offered in a year. So this course I spent 5 years developing and working on, and running, it might no longer be a source of income. So
mhm.
um, so there's that, so there's a bunch of things that make me think that I will never be able to retire unless I actually do create a bunch of stuff that I'm calling retire or pension projects. I'm calling them pension projects because
Right.
as a self-employed creative person, I don't have a pension. I've always worked for myself. I
Right.
don't have a pension,
Right.
period. And the government funding for pensions for people who don't have a pension of their own is quite low. And this is a
Right.
very expensive city, and I'd like to have a life. So I'm doing what I think of as pension projects in order to have some money coming in that isn't dependent on me working full time.
Right.
And
Right.
my window is probably 5 years for those to actually create, enough to bridge the gap between my my government
Mhm.
stuff and my own kind of
Right.
money, and then those things. I want the three of those to add up to something I can actually not just live on but enjoy life on.
Right. Right. And I'm hearing a lot here. So one, this is not a delusional creative speaking.
No, thank you. Thank
This
you.
is this is somebody who's very grounded in the fact that retirement will come,
Yeah.
or at least, being older and wanting to work less is
Yeah.
coming, or if not already there.
Yeah.
I know I love to work less.
Yeah.
And so instead of, the normal creative way, I think, of thinking about this stuff, or at least when you're younger, because this is how I thought about it, was I'm going to win the jackpot,
Yeah.
right? Because part of this, it's like a sort of a bit of a lottery where you put this stuff out, you keep pushing, 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 and hopefully something is the one that breaks through. And that's
Yeah.
the big money maker, right? And
Right.
that's the one that you can live on and frees up your time to do bigger and better things, right?
Yeah.
And that is probably maybe 2% of creatives get
Yeah.
there. I don't know what the actual percentage.
Outliers. It's the Stephen King myth, you know.
Yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
work that way for most people.
And so if you want to live life as a creative, the bottom line is that, there's not going to be a company paying a pension. In the US, we have Social Security, which is nice, but it's not going to be enough to sustain a lifestyle that you have now, or
Hmm.
even pay rent, probably.
Yeah.
So we have to really be thinking creatively about what we're going to do in terms of, what does retirement look like? How do we fund it?
Yeah.
And a lot of this, and it's interesting because what you're talking about too is stuff that people would generally call passive income or a side hustle or something like this, but you've rephrased it.
Yeah.
The
I
pension
had to
part.
reframe it in order to take it seriously because the thing about passive income in my experience, and I have a book and the pleasure journal and some
Yeah,
courses I've developed, but there's nothing passive about passive income when you're creating it. And so it's extra
yeah,
work on top of your already full work week of
yeah.
50 hours if you're lucky, probably more. So for me to take it seriously and to it's like, you want your ship, say the analogy might be a giant cruise ship, right? You want to turn it into a harbor. You got to start turning it well before you want to be in the harbor.
Right.
It's not something you can just screech into a harbor with a massive vessel. You've got your
Yeah.
whole work life basically sort of built around this idea that you either work one-on-one with people or you create one project after another that does whatever it does and
Mhm.
then dies. You want evergreen shit out there that people are going to pay for. Um, and the tricky part about that is platforms are always changing. So you might have your evergreen stuff on, say, Amazon or, Lightning Source or
Mhm.
whatever. You can't just set it and forget it. You've got to pay attention to algorithms and all this other stuff. So I'm not saying pension projects are work free, but what I'm saying is if you have enough of them, it's basically diversified income that you
Right.
can.
Right.
So you have a couple of James, I think you could teach what you do, right? So that could be a good source of income because there's lots of people
Mhm.
who would pay to find out how to become a ghostwriter. And
Right.
it wouldn't be chump change. It's a big ticket job. It needs to have big ticket training. So stuff like that, I think you can think creatively about the things that you know and what you know how to do, and then you can figure out how to get it out there. And it's always going to change. So
Mhm.
a year from now, the things that are selling on a platform might not be selling because that platform's changed and you have to figure
Right.
out. Or, like I said, the course I teach is now disappearing from a school, or it might be the school might be shutting down, it might be changing hands. It's my intellectual
Mhm.
property. I've got to talk to the owner of the school and figure out how to get that course in other areas. And so, pension projects, to me, the more you have that you can do well, the better. And
Mhm.
the sense of urgency comes from the idea that if you're anywhere pushing, if you're in your 50s and you're a solopreneur creative, you are going to
Mhm.
want to slow down and enjoy your life. There's going to be
Yeah.
a point where you can't pull 50-hour weeks, nor do you want to.
Yeah.
And so, to whatever mindset shifts it takes for you to call it what it is, which is a way to make money without actually working as much,
Yeah.
um, do it. I think
Yeah.
it's very helpful.
Well, the other thing, because like you're saying, there's nothing passive about this. And it's
Yeah,
like that ship analogy where it takes time for that ship to turn.
yeah,
And So one of the things that I always run into is, like all of us really, really, really freaking busy.
Yeah.
And so when I think about those kinds of things, it's so easy to put it off, right?
Oh my, that's what I do. I put it
And
off.
yeah, and say, and because maybe I don't have the right way to frame it in my
Yeah.
head that I need to take action because, now you've given this framing, which is really great. This is a pension project. This isn't
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah.
This is something the payoff is going to be down the line. It's going to be important. I'm going to need it.
Yeah.
So whatever I can do toward that right now
Yeah.
is going to get me that much closer.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not like, oh, I really should set up a passive income stream or, oh, I really should do,
No.
this or that. This changes the framing and it changes the way to think about it.
Good. Yeah. I think how you think about things makes you either do them or not do them. And in
Yeah.
my opinion, this has galvanized me. It could be, I'm just close enough to the finish line now that I take it seriously. But if I had had this framing when I was 40, I would have
Mhm.
probably been more serious long term about the stuff I could produce and just have out there. And
Mhm.
I would have worked it's not so much that you work harder, it's just that you take some of the time that you're using for ongoing admin, client maintenance stuff, and
Mhm.
privilege the pension project so that it actually becomes a thing. It's
Right.
surprisingly little amount of time takes. Like I use, so a recent example is I have this website called A Writer's Roadmap where I blogged weekly for um, I don't know, maybe 3 years. Plus, I had a newsletter, and so I asked DeepSeek to examine all the blog posts on a writer's roadmap. DeepSeek is an
Mhm.
AI form of AI, and suggest what from that content could make a book.
Wow.
Yeah, because I have a lot of content.
Yeah.
Right? And it's there's a person called Marianne Pellant. She's got a Substack called Pen to Profit, PEN, and then the numeral two, and then profit. Longtime writer and helper of writers. And one of her posts a couple of months ago really galvanized me. And it just was basically about using your your content, reusing
Huh.
it, figuring out ways to use it. She never suggested using AI to look at your actual website and go, guess what? There's 3 books in here, one on this, one on
Mhm.
this, one on this. And I found it very clarifying. And
Yeah.
I'll be, I know that I have that content out there. I worked it, I wrote it, but I never really looked into being able to turn it into something else.
Yeah. And I like that. It's a good use of AI
Yeah,
because you're not
because it's my
asking AI.
stuff.
Yeah, you're not asking AI to write something.
No,
It's
I
like
don't.
create
It
this for
won't.
me. It's just
Yeah,
give me some ideas, and then you can take the one that makes sense and feels
yeah,
doable.
yeah,
So I like that. And another way too to think about it for younger creatives, we'll say, who don't want to think about retirement. I was talking to somebody recently, and I was saying, God, I'd love to spend a month in Paris. Wouldn't that be
yeah,
awesome?
yeah,
And so you could call it, the Paris Project or
yeah.
something like that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
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 so it's a better way to kind of incentivize yourself
yeah.
to do the extra work because it is, it's extra work and you think, I spend so much time in this fucking office.
I
I don't
know.
want to do anymore. But hey, if I'm gonna spend another hour in here because that hour when it all adds up is gonna help me, have a better retirement or spend a month in Paris or whatever it is, that feels much more easier to manage sort of mentally, emotionally, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So much of life is just about managing yourself, and I just
Mhm.
found this a very good way to motivate doing the work. So, am I at the end of any of these pension projects? Well, I have a couple that are already out there, but they're in my calendar, and I've done a bunch of work already on them. So I just see it as inevitable that they're going to get out there. Then maybe not to the schedule I would love, but that's okay.
Yeah.
We're just humans.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just humans doing human stuff.
Yeah, dude. And I do object to even when the AI. So I was going to say I do object to the idea of AI writing the book, and that's not what I'm doing. I'm
Oh, yeah.
asking it
Yeah.
to identify topics because when it identified topics, it used language that I would never use, and so I asked it, cite your sources for this, and they just cited my own website. So clearly
Oh, wow.
I had stuff in there and they cited specific posts, right? So stuff I had written 2, 3 years ago, I didn't use that exact terminology. AI is getting it from somewhere, but the
Yeah.
idea is it identified the idea I had already articulated. So
Yeah.
that's great by me. I feel a good sense of ownership about that stuff
Yeah.
because I wrote all of it with the best intentions.
Yeah, no, and and sort of reiterate is just I feel like, if there's one good thing that AI can do is it's good for ideation, right?
Yeah,
Coming up with ideas. And
yeah.
so, all for that. And yeah, I think this has given me some ideas too.
Do you
So,
want to say anything about them?
well, just, one, reframing how I think about as I try to, increase the income pipelines,
Yeah,
right? So it's not just I need to increase my income pipelines because it's a task that needs to be done. It's a business
yeah,
need that I have to get to. It gives it more meaning, right?
yeah,
Whether it's a retirement meaning or a trip meaning or,
yeah,
whatever it is. So I think that's really great.
yeah.
And then the other idea is, how to use AI in a way that's helpful that isn't turning the project over. Here's a great business term that I recently learned, where you're not moving the monkey over to AI, right?
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
And but you're allowing it, you're using this technology to help you deepen your thinking and come up with some ideas, and then you can evaluate them on your own and say that makes sense, or that's
Yeah.
an idiotic hallucination that AI has come up with.
Yeah.
uh,
Exactly. Everything is subject to your own mind's final um, identity and stamp and approval and writing and all that stuff. And I think the other part that strikes me about what you're saying too is that even the act of moving forward on some of the things that might be for you a pension project will actually change your current reality because you will have projects out there that position you as, say, an expert
mhm.
in your field, and so
Yeah,
you are. However, there's nothing out there that says that you're just another schmo in the array of schmoes until you actually create that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And
Well, we call that thought leadership.
oh fuck, I hate that term so much. Yeah, or you call it authorship or course course in design or whatever. So
Yeah,
I
but
feel like it can go places before you even need the money from this thing. You'll
yeah.
actually have the thing out there that will change your current
Yeah,
trajectory.
no, I like it a lot, and it's taking the assets that you have already,
Yeah,
and
you've already
and
created that stuff over
yeah,
30 years in the
sort of
business.
repurposing, repackaging,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So that
yeah,
that feels like a lighter lift already. So,
yeah,
all right,
making it available. Yeah.
all right,
All
sounds
right.
good.
Okay.
Hold on wait,
Uh-oh.
Pat,
Yeah,
what do you call a rebellious potato?
I don't know.
An agitator.
I'm so
All
glad you
right,
have all
that's
these
enough of potato jokes.
potato jokes are awesome.
They're
Makes me
now
want
off
to
the
eat a
table.
potato.
Yeah, they're off the table now. Thanks for listening to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. We'd love to hear how we're doing, so please leave a comment, join our chat page, or send us an email at giftedunderachievers@substack.com. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you like to download, your podcasts. Please hit the share and or subscribe button. It really does help. A lot of moral support there. And as always, please have an awesome day.